Hey everyone, it's Nicole. Welcome back to the channel. For today's video, I am swatching out Holo Taco's very first collection from 7 years ago. I had been kind of toying with this idea for a while now to swatch out older collections that I never reviewed on my channel. If y'all like this idea, let me know in the comment section, like the video, all the things, because I'm not quite sure how people are gonna like this. For Holo Taco's first collection, it's called the Launch Collection, and it first launched on July 6, 2019. This release features 2 cream finish nail polishes as well as 3 nail polish toppers. For the polishes in this video, this is going to be a mixture of polishes that I personally purchased as well as polishes that the brand had sent me in PR. This video is not sponsored, we're just sitting and chatting. For the polishes in this video, these are not the first batch or release of the polishes that the brand did. I got these all a variety of times in Holo Taco's lifespan? I don't know, you know what I'm trying to say. I'm fairly confident that all these polishes are indeed still available on the Holo Taco website. If you were unaware, select polishes from Holo Taco are also available at Ulta, so links, description box, timestamps, yada yada yada. Let's get into the video. So the first polish in this release is called One Coat Black. I feel like this has been a top seller for Holo Taco for a long time. One Coat Black is just what the name describes it. It is a one coat black cream. One Coat Black has a fantastic formula. It's just slightly on the thicker side, but not overly thick at all. It applies evenly, self-levels perfectly. I'm just gonna be swatching this one out in one coat. I probably should have done 2 coats, but I honestly didn't feel like it. Like, it's a black cream. Like, what is there to see? Like, I don't know. I definitely see why One Coat Black is a lot of people's go-to One Coat Black. It is a fantastic black cream if you don't have one already. It is indeed a bit on the more expensive side for a cream finish nail polish, but it still is a really good one. I feel like this is gonna be one of those polishes where if you were around in the indie space like donkey years ago, you for sure already had a One Coat Black when this one was released. But I feel like for everybody else who's used to like a drugstore black cream, this probably was like a mind-blowing experience. For me personally, when this polish came out, I already had a One Coat Black. I was using Cert Colors Momentum Mori as my One Coat Black in this time period. I also was heavily using Heather Hughes's Shadow as a One Coat Black. So my swatches show One Coat Black in only 1 coat. My bottle of One Coat Black is a few years old and it has a pretty hefty fill line. It's around the spot where it's just below the Holo and Holo Taco on the bottle, so I've used this one quite a bit. I think I have added thinner to it since I initially got it, but not a lot of thinner, so I'm pretty confident that this is how it's supposed to apply. This is definitely one of those polishes from the brand that I would say if you really want this specific One Coat Black, definitely wait for it to go on sale during Black Friday or during their loyalty sale. I feel like at $14 for a 12 ml bottle, it's a little bit expensive for a cream. So I have never personally experienced any staining upon removing this shade, but it is a very, very, very pigmented black. This is gonna be one of those kind of creams that like after you remove it, even if you use the soak off method, you're still gonna have like a little bit of like blackness around the cuticle crevices area of your finger. The next polish in this collection is called Royalty Blue, and Holo Taco is describing this one as a royal blue cream. Royalty Blue also has a fantastic formula. In comparison to the last shade, I do find that this one tends to be on the thinner side. At some point in time, Royalty Blue was discontinued by the brand and then they brought it back. I am pretty sure that I picked this one up at the same time that I was grabbing a bottle of Existential Crisis. I think that was the time period in which I got this one. So this is not the original release of Royalty Blue, but it's the, I think the newer, better formula. I think when it got discontinued, they reformulated it, something along those lines. I generally find for tones of blue in this family that they're very frequently on the thinner side and you really have to build these ones up. All of the times that I've worn Royalty Blue, I've worn it in 2 to 3 coats depending on how long my nails are. So I'm gonna call Royalty Blue a 2 to 3 coater. It does still self-level really nicely. I still think it applies really nicely. It's an overall really beautiful shade. If you are unaware, I love blue creams in this color. Royal blues, cobalt blues, they just do something to my brain and I just really enjoy them. For my live swatch for this one, I opted to swatch this one out in 3 coats. I had a little bit of visible nail line towards the tips of my nails. I generally do find that if I really overwork this one, I could get it to be like perfectly opaque in 2, but like it's such a pretty blue color, I don't personally mind adding a 3rd coat for it. I do however agree with Holo Taco's color description. This is very much a very rich royal blue. I absolutely love this color. I genuinely don't know why it got discontinued, but I am glad it is in fact back on the Holo Taco website. Removal is going to be super duper easy for this shade, and I have not personally experienced any staining with it, but you know what I always say, if you care, double up on your base coat. So the next 3 polishes in this release are all the holographic toppers, the first being Scattered Holo Taco. For my live swatch for Scattered Holo Taco, I did swap out my brush for this shade. I had initially had the super duper skinny brush, and I hate the super skinny brush, especially when it comes to toppers. Or I believe I used the KB shimmer replacement brush for this one. Scattered Holo Taco has a fantastic formula. The base does not feel overly thick or thin, 0 application issues. The holographic in here is holographic hex glitter. It's super fine holographic hex glitter. This has the perfect amount of holographic glitter in here where you're getting a lot out on your nail, but not so much that it's completely obscuring the base color. When I had initially seen this as part of the release, I immediately thought of Simply Nailogical's video when she was trying to find like the best holographic glitter topper, and I very much feel like this would have done really perfectly in that video. This is a fantastic one. You get a lot of sparkle on the nail with very minimal texture from the glitters. Because it's a topper, you will of course want to put a top coat on top of it because it's a topper, not a top coat. Yes, there is a difference, but this is just an all-around really fantastic topper. If I was playing favorites for Holo Taco's holo toppers, I'd probably say that this one is my favorite out of the bunch. I use this one the most. This is going to be one of those toppers that even if you choose to build it up, you are never going to reach full opacity with it. The glitters are just way too small and you don't get full coverage with them. I suppose potentially in theory, maybe if you use like the sponging method, you might be able to get this one to be fully opaque, but in my personal opinion, you're gonna waste a lot of the base polish in this one trying to get this one to be opaque when you'd be better off just getting a full coverage micro glitter polish. Scattered Holo Taco is not gonna make your removal too difficult. I feel like you could scrub this one off if you really wanted, but it'd be a stupid decision to do. The next one up is gonna be Flakie Holo Taco, and this is another scattered holographic topper, but instead of it having hex glitters, it's going to have little holographic flakes. So where the last polish had like a very slight grittiness on it from like the very fine hex glitters, this one is basically the same, but it has irregularly shaped flakes, so it dries down very flat, but you still get a ton of holographic sparkle. And I also did swap out my brush for this bottle as well. Flakie Holo Taco has a fantastic formula. If I want to go for a silver flake topper, this is going to be one that I would likely reach for. You get a lot of holographic sparkle in your nail with this polish. There is a lot of variety in the sizes between the different size flakes. I found on the nail, you get anywhere from like a very small flake all the way to almost a holographic dusting almost. You get a lot of really good coverage because of the different sizes of the holographic flakes in here, but still, it doesn't cover so much of your nail that you're not going to be able to use this one over nail art or just any kind of base color. It's not enough coverage to obscure your base at all. You're still going to get both a lot of holographic sparkle as well as your base color. This is another polish in this release that I felt was very fitting to Christine's YouTube channel at the time. I will fully admit, however, this is another one that when it came out, I think I had already had like 3 or 4 holographic silver flake toppers by that point, so this was another one that didn't really jump out to me personally. I will say, however, it is a fantastic polish. If these 3 toppers in this release ever get discontinued, I really will be shocked. Removal is not going to be overly difficult with Flakie Holo Taco. It's just going to be on the more messy side if you scrub this one off. The final polish in this collection is called Linear Holo Taco, and as the name would describe, this is a linear holographic in a clear base. I didn't swap out the brush for this polish, but you know what I did do? As I was cleaning the brush off, because you can kind of see where I was picking up the polish on the brush thing, I accidentally broke the brush on this one, so the brush has now been replaced. Yeah. Linear Holo Taco also had a fantastic formula. In my personal opinion, I feel like this is the least visually interesting to me personally.
You know, that's just my opinion. Everybody got an opinion.
And I only say that because I very irregularly will use a linear holographic for a topper. I'm not the biggest fan of them, I find. I feel like if I want a linear holographic effect, I'm more likely to just get a linear holo as opposed to using the topper. I did notice, however, where the last 2 holographic topper shades, I felt that my normal studio lighting did a really great job at showing just how holographic and blingy they were. For whatever reason, I don't feel like my lighting did a great job showcasing how holographic this one is. So when I brought the dogs to go outside to the bathroom, I got a quick shot of my thumb dancing in some sunlight so you can see how holographic it is. It is still really holographic, but as is typical for any kind of linear holographic pigment, it's a lot easier to see the holographic rainbowy goodness with those polishes and more variety of lighting, whereas for linear holographics, they're just like not finicky per se, they're just more strongly dependent on lighting. Your light sources is going to strongly depend on how holographic you're going to see. I find that for holographic glitter and flaky, I feel like a slight beam of light will get a holographic glitter to look good, but you'll really need like boom lighting to make a linear holo look good. Because this is a linear holographic pigment, it's going to dry down really, really smooth. There's going to be no texture here whatsoever. I will say, I feel like formulation wise, a linear holographic topper, it's probably the most difficult holographic topper to do, just because that linear holographic pigment, it really strongly grays out anything that you mix it with. So the balance of having a really good linear holographic topper that doesn't gray out whatever you put it on, I feel like there's a really delicate balance there. Once again, I do own quite a few different linear holographic toppers, and I have some that definitely gray out the base and others that do not. I would say that this one does not gray out the base at all. It does a really good job at not graying anything out. Because this is a linear holographic, it's gonna be super duper easy to remove, because again, linear holographic. Okie dokie, so final thoughts time. So I did not personally pick up this release when it initially launched. I had already had multiple polishes in my personal collection that looked exactly like all of these that I didn't really feel the need to pick them up. But I think out of all of these, the only one that I purchased was Royalty Blue. And I picked up Royalty Blue largely because I have a
chronic problem.
So as someone who's been buying indie nail polish for a minute, I will say that, like I said earlier, I felt this collection was a little bit disappointing when it initially released. Looking back on it with time, I do feel this is a really good staple collection, and I feel like that's what Holo Taco does every so often. Ignoring the fact that this is a very basic collection, I do still feel like it's still a really good collection. The polishes themselves are all really, really good. For linear Holo Taco and flaky Holo Taco, those are probably the only two polishes in this release that you're probably not going to find just wandering around any drugstore in America. I can't personally think of a mainstream brand that I can purchase in the drugstore that has had a linear holographic topper. I'm sure there probably has been, because drugstore polishes have been making linear holos for a very long time. So I'm sure there is one that I just don't personally recall. I feel like if someone asked me for a drugstore holographic topper, I always think of China Glaze's Fairy Dust, and I don't think of anybody else who has that available. Christine had said from the get-go that her plan was to basically have polishes that you wouldn't find in the drugstore, so on that case, I feel like it's kind of comical. Out of the 5 polish release, I feel like 3 are very drugstore leaning, but the formulations of these were really where they stand out the most, in my opinion, especially for One Coat Black and the toppers. I don't really feel like Royalty Blue is going to be anything different than I could find in the drugstore right now. As like a customer of Holo Taco, it took me quite a while for Holo Taco to actually release something that I didn't feel looked too similar to something that I already had. In case anyone is curious on what the first polishes from Holo Taco that I ever bought were, it was the Tea Creams collection, which I posted a review for, and yeah, that was the first time that I bought Holo Taco, and I actually bought those because I really like the collection box and I thought it'd be fun to review Holo Taco as someone who's really into indie nail polish. I would love to know for everyone, if you're watching this video, I would love to know, were you buying Holo Taco when they first came out? And if so, did you pick up this release? I'd also like to know everyone's thoughts and feelings on Holo Taco's first release. I see a lot of people in the community saying that Holo Taco got boring. This quite literally was their first collection, and I wouldn't personally describe Holo Taco as a boring company. Just for context, I really like their polishes a lot. I just feel like people have gotten used to seeing what other brands do online. This has always been their vibe, and I think for the people saying that Holo Taco got boring, I think you just expanded your horizons on like what's the possibility for inside of a nail polish, and Holo Taco doesn't necessarily do that. But at the end of the day, the Holo Taco and even mainstream brand, their customer bases aren't necessarily the exact same customer base as the person who's buying handmade indie nail polish online. It's a completely different customer base. So even though they could in theory do it, it's going to be significantly more expensive, and their customers may or may not actually be into that. Like if we look at what Holo Taco has available at Ulta, there's a lot of things there that are very normie coded, and not I'm fully immersed in nail polish online, watching swatch and reviews and buying up a whole bunch of nail polish, and I want my nail polish to have 20,000 different components in it. That's not the vibe. So if you all like this video, don't forget to give it a big old thumbs up, like, hype, comment, subscribe, all the things. Also, recently hit 15,000 subscribers on here, so thank you all so much for subscribing to the channel. Wow. Woo.
Look around you. Look at this. We created this.
If you like seeing my face, don't forget to check me out on my other social media. I feel like I get comments on TikTok very frequently now that people didn't know that I was on TikTok. Yeah, I am. I'm also on Instagram and Facebook and occasionally post random thoughts in the middle of the night on Threads. I'm in all the places. Before we end today's video, I do want to give a very special shout out to my channel members. Shenanigans Story fans, your names of course, all on the screen right now. But as always, channel memberships is completely optional. Just like the video, comment the video, share, all the things. And seriously, we are good. So just thank you all for joining me for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a lovely week and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!
When I get high, I ain't looking at the clock, still ballin' like Brian. Yeah, I'm headed to the Bucks, then I'm ballin' like yeah.